Dolores Hart was once hailed as the next Grace Kelly, radiant, poised, and on the brink of superstardom. By the age of 25, she had achieved what many could only dream of: fame, beauty, success, and the admiration of millions. Yet, at the very height of her career, she made a decision that stunned Hollywood and her fans alike. In 1963, Dolores Hart walked away from fame and fortune to become a Catholic nun. Her journey from movie stardom to monastic life remains one of the most remarkable transformations in Hollywood history. But what could make a young actress, adored by audiences and courted by studios, turn her back on everything the world said was success? To understand that, we must go back to where it all began. Born Dolores Hicks on October 20, 1938, in Chicago, she was the only child of actor Bert Hicks and his wife, Harriet. Her childhood was divided between the glamour of her father's theatrical world and the quiet devotion of her Catholic grandparents. It was with them that Dolores discovered a deep faith that would one day shape her destiny. Yet, as a young woman, she couldn't resist the call of the stage. After attending Marymount College, she began acting in small roles until producer Hal Wallace discovered her and gave her a new name: Dolores Hart. Her career skyrocketed when she starred opposite Elvis Presley in Loving You, 1957. The film became a hit, and her on-screen kiss with Elvis made history. She later reunited with him for King Creole, earning critical acclaim and a growing fan base. Hollywood quickly labeled her the next Grace Kelly. But behind the glamour, Dolores longed for something deeper. Her career flourished with a string of successful roles. From Wild Is the Wind and Lonely Hearts to the hit comedy Where the Boys Are. But it was Frances of Assisi in 1961 that changed everything. Playing St. Clair, a woman who gave up her riches to follow God, awakened something profound within Dolores. During filming in Rome, she met Pope John XXIII, who told her, "You are Claire." Those words would echo in her heart long after the cameras stopped rolling. The film planted a spiritual seed that would soon take root. As her fame grew, so did her unease. She began to see Hollywood as a glittering cage. Every detail of her life scripted, managed, and marketed. Surrounded by applause, she felt increasingly empty inside. "I was living everyone else's dream," she later said, "but not my own." During this time, she met Don Robinson, a kind-hearted architect. The two fell deeply in love, and their engagement promised a future filled with happiness. But as their wedding approached, Dolores found herself tormented by doubt. The call to religious life, the same quiet voice that had first stirred while playing St. Clair, had returned with force. She loved Don dearly, but she could not silence the feeling that God was asking her to take a different path. After many sleepless nights, she confessed to Don that she felt called to a life of faith. In one of the most selfless acts of love imaginable, Don accepted her decision. Heartbroken but supportive, he personally drove her to the Abbey of Regina Laudis in Bethlehem, Connecticut, the monastery that would become her home for the rest of her life. When news broke that Dolores Hart had left Hollywood to become a nun, the world was shocked. Tabloids called it a publicity stunt, fans refused to believe it, and studios were left speechless. But for Dolores, it was no stunt. It was the truth of her soul. At the Abbey, she exchanged red carpets for stone floors, designer gowns for a simple habit, and the applause of millions for the silence of prayer. Her days began before dawn with vigils and were filled with work, reflection, and service. Over time, she took her final vows and became known as Mother Dolores Hart. Far from the glamour of Hollywood, she found a joy and peace she had never known. The woman who once acted beside Elvis now spent her life tending gardens, milking cows, and praying for the world. Though she left the entertainment industry, Dolores never completely severed her connection to it. She remained a voting member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, quietly watching and voting on films each year. In 2012, she made a rare public appearance at the Oscars for the HBO documentary God is the Bigger Elvis, which told her extraordinary story. Dressed in her nun's habit, she walked the red carpet, a living symbol of grace and devotion amid Hollywood's glitter. That moment captured the essence of her life. A woman who chose faith over fame, but never lost her light. Today, in her 80s, Mother Dolores Hart continues to live and serve at Regina Laudis Abbey. Her autobiography, The Ear of the Heart, chronicles her remarkable journey from the movie screen to the monastery, reminding the world that true fulfillment isn't found in fame or fortune, but in following the quiet truth of one's heart.